Well, let's get to it. What do you say?
Is
The
it
good,
time?
bad, and the ugly.
It's time for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, first off, the best wide receiver in fantasy last year was Andre Johnson, the Houston Texans. You're probably going to have a top 7 or top 8 pick in the first round to get him this year, and he's going to be worth it. He's been durable. He's a steady producer on a weekly basis. He averages 10 targets and almost 100 receiving yards per game over the last 3 seasons. The only things that kind of make me nervous about him this year are the schedule and Matt Schaub's injury history. Since Matt Schaub was last year was his only full season playing all year and not being injured, that really added to Andre Johnson's targets. What else really added to Andre Johnson's targets was Owen Daniels going down last year.
Right.
So that kind of bumped him up in terms of his targets. So now I don't think he's going to be the number 1 overall Andre Johnson this year, but I certainly think he's a top 5 wide receiver. So go for it. He's your good.
And he never gets hurt.
Well,
I mean, like hurt.
right, yeah. He has little dinks and, little bumps and bruises.
He's no Matthew Hatchett.
No, he's no Matt Hatchett.
Google it.
That is Google free. The other thing that scares me about the Texans in general is that schedule that they have. It's a pretty brutal schedule, including their fantasy playoffs, which I've talked about before. Baltimore, at Tennessee, at Denver. But will any of that matter with Andre Johnson catching the ball, really? I don't think so. He'll still be like a top 5 guy.
The only thing that really affects Andre Johnson is if Matt Schaub's on the field. Really?
Yeah, I agree.
Because if someone can get him the ball, he's great. Yeah. I mean, you could get Rusty Hilger out there.
It would be Dan Orlovsky if it wasn't Matt Schaub.
Dan, who ran out on the end zone, Orlovsky?
I think so.
Yeah. Dan, who went to the University of Connecticut, Orlovsky? Yeah. Google it, Google free. I know it. I just so the fans know, I don't have no stock in Google. But I watch the NFL so much that I name drop like crazy. And I forgot to name drop to Kate some of the hot Atlanta players I remember. William Andrews, Lynn Kane, Steve Bartkowski, Mick Luckhurst. Google it! Google it! Google-ack it!
The rest of the Houston Texans, we're going to preview them. Kevin Walter has seen his touches drop over the past 2 seasons. He's the number 2 guy there in Houston. He had 53 receptions for 611 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. He was also hampered by some injuries last year and now finds himself in the theme of our month, a training camp battle.
That's right.
That's the word we're going to be talking about this training camp competition, training camp battle for the number 2 spot. He's going to be in a training camp battle with Jacoby Jones. Now, Jacoby Jones is a fast guy. They really like him. They're expecting big things out of him. He only finished the season with 27 catches, but he averaged 16.2 yards per reception, and he scored 6 touchdowns. So he scored more than Walter did last year. I think Jacoby Jones is going to win this job because they want him to.
Right.
We'll see what happens, but that's one to watch during camp. Andre Davis and David Anderson are the backups, although Andre Davis has filled in really, really well when he's had to. Mm-hmm. So that's a guy to kind of keep an eye on as well.
But with their hard schedule, sometimes it's a good thing because it makes these guys have to perform. And really, look, they're going to tell him at halftime, look, they're double-teaming Andre Johnson. Yeah. You've got to get open. You've got to get open.
If Jacoby Jones, I have him going in the 14th or the 15th round, this is huge value if he wins this job. Now, that's going to jump up if he wins the job. He's probably have to spend a 10th rounder on him, right? But still, that's a 10th round pick on a guy who could be something for you. And they say that great players play in the big games. Mm-hmm. So if he's a great player, then he'll play in a big game. So there's Andre Johnson, our number 2 guy. In the good. From the New England Patriots.
It's like it's in his craw. It's in Heath's craw. I can't even get it out.
I know. Randy Moss.
Ugh, fine.
Randy Moss was the number 2 fantasy wide receiver last year. He finished with over 200 fantasy points for the 6th time in his career, joining only 3 other players to have ever done that. Wide receivers, Jerry Rice, Marvin Harrison, and Terrell Owens.
Unbelievable.
Randy Moss is mentioned in the same breath with those 3 guys. It makes me sick. Oh, my goodness.
You know what? I did make a pact with my Patriot partner in one of our leagues. He said he's there. Do you want to take him? And I know. I said yes.
I know you did. I know.
The numbers don't lie. Look, everybody out there, you have your own favorite team. We get it. But you're going to lose your league and your fantasy football title because you couldn't get past that.
Yeah.
And it takes a certain type of mentality to go, all right.
I took Thomas Jones last year, and it took everything in my being to do it. I was like, oh, I've never taken a jet before that time. Before that last year.
You never took a jet?
No, I've never took a jet.
Sorry.
But there's always something. Let's get back to Randy. There's always some rumblings with Randy Moss, though, right? Every season there's a problem, right? This year it's his contract. He's in a contract year. He wants a new contract. Of course, there may be a lockout the following season. Everybody wants to get a new deal. Don't you want to get a new deal, Phil?
I've been begging for a new deal. I've been up at corporate for like all but this morning.
He's been a top 5 fantasy wide receiver 8 times in his career as well. He's never missed a game since joining the Patriots. So there goes your durability issues.
Right.
My goodness, why wouldn't you take this guy? Only because you hate him. That's the only reason why. The other thing to watch during camp is watch if Torrey Holt has anything left in the tank. Watching him in Jacksonville last year, I'm going to say that the answer is no. But then again, I thought that Corey Dillon was done before he went there, and I was wrong about that. So the Pats swung and missed with Joey Galloway last season, but maybe Torrey's got something left in that offense. He's certainly a bright enough guy to handle the playbook and see if these guys can cook it up a la Jerry Rice and Tim Brown, right?
Right, there you go.
That's the best idea that they're going to have up there as far as their wide receiver group goes. The big question, though, with the Patriots, isn't it? It's Wes Welker.
And everybody, it's like they're on pins and needles in New England. Oh, my God, Wes Welker? He woke up this morning.
Yeah, I saw him running. It was incredible. That they had that. It was like a story. But there are conflicting reports here. Some say he's going to be ready for training camp, and he's running well, and he's cutting, and he's doing all these things. And then others say he's going to start the season on the physically unable to perform list, hereafter known to as the PUP list.
Yes.
And I think that he won't be ready or effective if he comes out and starts the season early, because he tore his ACL and his MCL. That's a year and a half.
Yep. And
really, that means November, which means that he's going to go on the PUP list. So that's what I think. He's still probably going to cost you a 7th or 8th rounder. And, that's a high price to pay for a guy who won't.
But let all the Patriot fans do it, because they're going to take him.
But,
look at Tom Brady. He was coming off a knee injury, and he's a quarterback. He doesn't even need to run as much.
I know.
And it's unbelievable. Let the Pats make the mistake.
But I would avoid him or wait for him to drop to you in the 12th round when everyone else is scared away. If your league is savvy, then that will happen. Otherwise, there's going to be some chucklehead who takes him in the 7th round, and you can laugh at him. Who's going to pick up the slack? What's going to happen there with them? This is what I think. Julian Edelman is probably going to wind up doing the job replacing Welker. He even looked a lot like Welker last year. There's another guy, though, who they have. Brandon Tate, who they drafted last year. Deep sleeper alert, guys.
Yep. All
right. I think it's going to be a combination of these two guys. Brandon Tate and Julian Edelman are going to kind of do it together. They drafted him because he's explosive when he's healthy. It's like a second to last round flyer on a guy who may blow up in the preseason and become overvalued, but I pay attention to him and see if he earns a role in the offense. Brandon Tate, I'm talking about. It's like they're looking for the new and improved Troy Brown when they got him.
Exactly.
And I remember that was exactly what the guy on ESPN was talking about, the guy with the hair, Mel Kiper, right? And he was like, oh, they're looking for the next Troy Brown, and he's scowling, which is kind of fun to watch him scowl. But this season they drafted this kid, Taylor Price, and he'll earn his slot next year, but he'll be on the job training this year. Right.
All you Pat fans, look out. You think you've got like the next Hartley Dykes. Google it, Google free. You don't.
And another thing, I'm going to talk about the 11 formation later when I talk about the Dallas Cowboys, which is going to be next. And the Patriots also run a lot of this 11 formation stuff, and we'll talk about it.